What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the RiSSky Powerhouse. It's your boy. We in here again, man. We're trying to roll them out. All-Stars got picked on Thursday night. LeBron and Kevin Durant, the captains. They had a nice show on TNT. Chuck, Shaq, Kenny, Ernie, them guys did a good job of entertaining everybody while, trying to keep that feel of respect for every player. But they totally disrespected that boy James Harden in the way that they made sure he was picked last just because of the trade situation. They talked about the trade with Brooklyn and Philly, and it was just a whole lot. So I gave my thoughts on the Ben Simmons angle of the trade in my last video. If y'all haven't seen it, go check it out. Leave a like, leave a comment, show that love because I need that. But yeah, man, now we here. All-Stars been selected, teams been put together. And I'm just here to give my thoughts on every single one of these All-Stars. So we don't got to give no thoughts on the captains. LeBron, we know what he's been doing for 19 years. Kevin Durant, the sniper extraordinaire, the Durantula. We already know what he brings to the table. High efficiency, 7-foot guard, wing, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So starting off with the number one overall pick of the 2022 All-Star Draft, LeBron James selected Giannis Antetokounmpo. Clear number one pick. Anybody else being picked number one over Giannis probably would be blasphemy when you look at the course of the last 5 seasons and players growing into who they are today. Giannis probably have made the biggest stretch, biggest storm of growing his legacy in the last 5 seasons, more so than anybody else in the league. And Giannis is a well-deserved number one overall pick. His team started off pretty slow early. They were missing 4 out of their top 5 starters. Giannis kept them at bay. When those guys got healthy, they got rolling, and now the Bucks are in the thick of things in the East, going down the stretch. Obviously, we don't know if those guys are gonna, push or slide after the All-Star break, but leading up to the All-Star break, Giannis definitely been arguably the best player in his conference. When you look at Joel Embiid, over the course of the last month, he's made a strong push in the MVP race. He 2 weeks ago in the MVP report, according to NBA.com, he was number 1. So they got Joel Embiid in the thick of things in terms of being one of those guys who can take that MVP. With James Harden coming over to the team, his workload might cut down. It might go up. You never know how different players react when they get on the court together. Harden is a passer, so he might be trying to feed Embiid all game, as he should. Embiid going to demand 2 or 3 guys just because he's a hog in that paint. He's just too much. He's too overwhelming with his size, with his skill, footwork, the mid-range touch, and all of those things. And when he gets to the free throw line, he's not a liability. So shout out to Joel Embiid. He's been playing well over the course of the last 6 weeks or so. He started off pretty slow over the course of the first 10 games, but he got it going, and now he's leading the league in scoring. He's playing more times than not, and Joel Embiid definitely deserving to be the number 1 overall pick for Kevin Durant, the number 2 overall pick, and Kevin Durant's first pick. LeBron backed up at Joel Embiid pick with Stephen Curry, the greatest shooter ever. Steph started off the first 20 games as the front runner for the MVP, and he kind of slowed down, towards Christmas, New Year time, somewhere up in there. He started to hit a slump, and he's kind of been coming up out of that slump slightly, but he haven't made a strong storm or push to where he's having a strong 10 games where we say, okay, he's back to being Stephen Curry. So I'm looking forward to see how he can bounce back after the All-Star break and see if he can get back in the thick of the MVP race. If I'm not mistaken, according to NBA.com's last release, which was yesterday, Steph Curry is number 5. So he still have a chance to make a push. Let's see what he can do. When we look at Kevin Durant's first guard that he drafted, it was Ja Morant. And that was one of the surprising picks to me. Ja obviously been electric this year. A lot of players like him because of his attitude, because of his heart, his determination, the way he leads, the way he plays, the way he's fearless, the way he's aggressive. And that attracts a lot of players that get that backyard feel. He'll be great for an All-Star game with the dunks, with the passing, the pizzazz. He's growing his legacy now, and with this leap that Ja took in his 3rd season, he's putting a lot of pressure for him to come back next year even greater. So I'm just anxious to see his growth as a player. Getting north of 25 points per game, that's a big leap coming from a player who was 17 points and then 19 points in his first 2 years. So I'm more interested to see if he can get those assists up to 9 assists. I want to see him be more of a floor general. I understand his athleticism, his finishing ability, and all of those things that he brings to the table. But Ja can definitely be a high-level facilitator if that's what he prioritized. So let's see where he can go from now or from there. LeBron followed that pickup with DeRozan. It was clear to me that LeBron was going for the vets, the experience. DeRozan having an MVP level season over in Chicago, he definitely deserved an MVP consideration. He's the most clutch player in the fourth quarter thus far this season. Well, he have a case. You can also make a case for Chris Paul and Devin Booker, but when you look at DeRozan, the game winners, the clutch points, the clutch efficiency, DeRozan is everything for the Chicago Bulls right now. Points and facilitating and also rebounding, long on defense, leading the team. He's doing a great job in Chicago, and they're in the thick of things in terms of getting a top seed in the East. And they've had a lot of injury this season, which makes it even more great on DeRozan's behalf. So, yeah, if y'all see DeRozan on that betting slip, always take the over on his points. Team Durant came back and got Jason Tatum. Tatum he started off pretty slow in Boston this season. He started to get it going over the last 10 to 15 games, though. And now that he's a rhythm player. So now that he's in rhythm, I don't expect to see him slow down no time soon. And he can make his push deeper into the playoffs. Tatum stopped settling for those so many mid-range jumpers and started attacking that rim. His free throw rate went up, his efficiency went up, and his points per game went up. That's no coincidence. So I hope he stay aggressive. Hope he figure out a way to incorporate him and Jaylen Brown without just being you go, I go, you go, I go. Hope they figure out how to, have a glue in how they both dominate at the same time within winning. And with the 7th overall pick, Team LeBron picked up Nikola Jokic, the most productive player in the NBA this season. I'm surprised he slipped down so far. I'm surprised that he wasn't picked over Embiid, honestly. But it's the lack of athleticism. It's the fact that he's foreign. We are American born. So, we really going to attract to the guys that look like us, sound like us, play like us, think like us. And that's just basically what it is. Nikola Jokic is leading the league in PER with a 33 PER, leading the league in offensive win shares, leading the league in defensive box plus minus, leading the league in value of a replacement player. He's doing everything for the Denver Nuggets to be a top 5 seed, top 6 seed in the West. And he don't even have his second or third best guy. And with the guys that he's had, they've dealt with injury throughout the course of the season too. So it's like they can't afford to have Will Barton miss 2 or 3 games because they're already down. They're two out of their top 5 guys. So it's like, yeah, man, Nikola Jokic been putting that team on his back, getting triple doubles, monster doubles, 20 games. And it just seemed like he'll always kind of, breeze past, and people are not going to really respect his dominance until he really, really put it together for a few more seasons. Team Durant, by default, was then given Trae Young and Andrew Wiggins. Obviously, we knew Andrew wasn't going to be a top pick simply because he's not better than nobody in the starters, I'm surprised Ja went over Trae when you just look at what Trae been doing. But it's the attitude, it's the aggressiveness, the fearlessness, the finishing ability, the dunks. That's what get people riled up with Ja Morant, the electricity that he brings. But Trae, he have more of a flashy floor game where, he's like a mouse running around the big cat, you know what I mean? And that's not as attractive as what Ja brings to the table. Although Trae Young is a walk-in top 6 scorer, top 6 assist man in the league, leading his team. And hey man, I think Trae Young is a good player. The Atlanta Hawks got it going down the stretch, but I just think that slow start really made people feel like that playoff run last year was a fluke. They made the conference finals, and he could have came out this year and they could have got off to a hot start. They didn't. So now he's back in the back of people's minds. So that's what's going on with that. When you look at the first pick of the reserves, I don't want to say I was surprised, but I do want to say I was kind of I was appreciative of this pick because the young bucks really taking over the league. They starting to grow, and we're starting to see a lot of the players we know and love decline, and we're watching these young guys come up and take the place of those guys. Devon Booker was the first pick of the reserves by Kevin Durant, and that is a great pick considering he's shooting 50% in clutch situations this season. Phoenix Suns, #1 seed in the West, #1 seed in the league. So it's only deserving that since they don't have a starter, first reserve off the bench is Devin Booker. Definitely averaging 25 points, can he still have a chance to get to 26 points per game? He right there. So keep scoring, man. Stay efficient and keep doing what you got to do for the Phoenix Suns to keep winning at a high level. Y'all got a chance at the championship, and Devin, you a top 2 reason for that. So keep doing what you're doing, dog. Luka Magic, LeBron James took Luka Doncic with his first pick off the reserves. Luka walking triple-double. Dallas was playing terribly till he came back. Once he came back, they ran off 6 straight. And since then, they've been playing at a rate to where they're a top 5 team in the West. I think they might be top 4, if I'm not mistaken. Like I told y'all, I had my son and stuff, so I haven't been as tuned in as I would like to be in terms of just basketball. But in terms of what we know Luka bring, he turned the Dallas Mavericks around as soon as he got back from injury earlier this year. Karl-Anthony Towns, great pick, man. I love to see Karl-Anthony Towns get his 3rd All-Star appearance. Good to see Minnesota playing well. And Cat deserved it, man. I remember a game earlier this season where they played the Lakers. Cat was roasting Anthony Davis, screaming at him, dunking on him, offensive rebounds, talking to the ball, forcing coaches to call timeouts, telling them about it and everything. So I just feel like he coming out with a different hunger. Veterans like Patrick Beverley, Taurean Prince, they're really helping the Minnesota Timberwolves get a mentality that I haven't seen from them since the Kevin Garnett era. So I hope he can keep that up. Hope Minnesota can continue to get better year by year. And you never know, they're young. Them guys can be a threat for the next few years. When you look at Darius Garland, another young buck off the board. First All-Star appearance coming out of Cleveland. You know, the All-Star game is in Cleveland, so this is valuable for a player like Darius Garland. This is valuable. He averaging around about, 21 points, 8.5 assists. He's doing everything he can offensively in terms of facilitating and managing the Cleveland Cavaliers offense with all those bigs. And he's the reason why they can play with all those bigs offensively, because the pick and rolls, the passing ability, the three-point ability that he have, his skill set is complemented by playing with bigs who can stretch as well as finish, as well as post. And with Evan Mobley posting and he getting threes off of that, he pick and popping with Lowry marketing, getting assists off that. He picking and rolling with Jared Allen, who's cleaning up everything. So shout out to Darius Garland, man. When you look at Zach Levine, Chicago, once again, Zach Levine and DeRozan, them guys are duo wings who might be the best wing combo in the league. You got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. You know, you got who else would be a wing duo? I'm not sure right off the top of my head, but Paul George and Kawhi hurt, but DeRozan and Zach have been the best wing duo on one team in the league thus far this season. Both of those guys averaging around, DeRozan around 27, 28 points, Zach around 25, 26 points. They both get about 4 to 7 rebounds per game, 4 to 7 assists per game, depending on the night. And both of them are hyper athletic, shoot guys who can finish at the rim and also shoot not only the 3, but the mid-range as well. And that mid-range is what activates you, because if they can't run you off the 3, force you to the rim, or they can't sag off of you, you're a threat from everywhere, and that's how you want to be if you're a high-level scorer. You don't want to be a one-dimensional scorer, and that's why players like James Harden need to get back to his mid-range bag. That's why you see players like Giannis starting to take more mid-range jumpers. It's because you can't win at a high level doing one thing over and over and over and over and over again unless you just all-time polarizing at what you do. A la Steph Curry, all-time shooter, a la Shaq, all-time finisher and strength player in the paint. You know, certain guys just have a certain strength that they can do that could just overwhelm all the time, no matter what the defense does. But most players have to craft out a game to where they have versatility, where they have flexibility, and they can be in multiple places on the floor, especially when they're number 1 or number 2 option on a winning team. When we move on from Zach Levine, CP3 was picked up by LeBron James, best friends. You know, CP leading the league in assists, shooting 50-something% in clutch time, mid-range, dead-eye, diamond up. He had 19 assists the other night. They just ran through the Milwaukee Bucks, the Phoenix Suns did the other day. And Chris Paul is a big reason for that. Devon Booker missed time this year. Phoenix was still winning. DeAndre Ayton missed time this year. Phoenix was still winning. Chris Paul played every game. He's averaging about 15 points, nearly 11 assists a game. Crazy efficiency. And he's just doing his thing, man. At 36 years old in year 17, I think Chris Paul have a game that he can play until he retires. I don't think his level will ever decline because of the way he plays. is not like an explosion, or it's not like he don't depend on athleticism. He strictly just plays, and he's a great defender as well as an intangible rebounder, and as well as a high-level facilitator. And he's a good scorer that's efficient from all three levels. So shout out to Chris Paul, man. Dude, still building up a legacy. When you peep out your boy DeJounte Murray, this dude, he in San Antonio averaging 19 points, about eight rebounds, 9 assists, triple-double threat every night. San Antonio starting to rebuild it and get those. They got the veterans out last year. DeRozan let them walk. They got Aldridge out of there last year. Let Cal Anderson go a few years ago. They got Thaddeus Young out, traded him at the trade deadline. They traded Derek White at the trade deadline. So DeJounte Murray, this is your team. So now the next few draft picks that they have over the next couple seasons, next couple vets they get in free agency, I'm interested to see how they build around DeJounte, because he is an electric player. And although he was a replacement, is well-deserving. Shout out to DeJounte Murray, triple-double threat. LeBron picked up Jimmy Butler right after that. Jimmy Butler, we know how he impact winning. True intangibles player. He does all the little things that impact winning, that helps a team, from passing the ball to setting screens, diving on the floor, defending the best guy, switching out on the player that he might be uncomfortable guarding for a particular amount of time. All types of things. Willingness to be embarrassed, willingness to try. You know, Jimmy Butler the type of person that he'll see somebody coming down the lane and he'll jump knowing he gonna get dunked on, but he'll jump just so they know, I'm gonna jump every time, bro. And that's the type of player you want on your team. That's the type of player you want leading your team. So shout out to Jimmy Butler, man. Chris Middleton got picked up by Team Durant. Chris Middleton, efficient from all levels. But let me just tell you, man, he's a very good player. But I just feel like the spot that Chris Middleton got in the front court belonged to Jared Allen. I feel like when you watch the Cleveland Cavaliers this year, you watch his rebounding, you watch his block shots, you watch his scoring input, you watch his improvement over the course of the last couple seasons coming from Brooklyn to Cleveland. He get the 5-year, $100 million contract. He back it up with great play and winning games. I think he truly deserved that. And I feel like Chris Middleton's numbers aren't polarizing to a degree where it would be a quote unquote snub if he didn't make it. And being at the All-Star game in Cleveland, it's also a couple of political reasons. You got the All-Star game in Cleveland. You know, you got he playing well. Middleton not playing out lights out or out his mind. So I feel like Jared Allen should have had that front court spot. But yeah, shout out to Chris Middleton. He's still playing well alongside Giannis, doing his thing, and we know what he is as a player. Donovan Mitchell got picked up by Team LeBron right after KD picked Middleton. Donnie he was out for a little bit, and what happened to the Utah Jazz? They started sliding. Once they lost Gobert, they started falling, plummeting. Donnie came back. He kind of stabilized them a little bit, keep them in that 4 or 5 range, so that they don't fall into the play-in. So Donovan Mitchell clearly have a positive impact on winning for the Utah Jazz, averaging about 26 points per game, doing his thing, and he's doing his job, man. Shooting guard in the league, he's coming up. Like I said, you got Zach Levine, you got Devon Booker, Donovan Mitchell. It's an elite class of young shooting guards coming up in the league, and these dudes really have a chance to be pillars of the All-Star game for the next 5, 6, 7 seasons if they do their due diligence in terms of the work they got to put in every day and growing their games throughout the summer. Interested to see how Donnie, Zach, and Devin Booker can grow and evolve and add things to their game that they didn't have, you know, what we are watching right now. I'm interested to see that in the next 3 to 5 years. When we take another look, man, we got LaMelo Ball, man. He's a replacement. One thing I don't understand is, how do you replace Kevin Durant and Draymond Green with LaMelo Ball and DeJounte Murray? You can't replace 2 front court players with 2 back court players. The NBA have to do a better job of, you know, limiting things that we can call quote unquote cheating or altering of the rules so that they can do what they want to do in terms of how they want to gift certain players. Last year, Jimmy Butler was an all-NBA forward, but he was an all-defensive guard. What position do we play? See, this is why this positionless stuff is false. There are still positions in basketball, but they put this positionless thing in the air so that they can do what they want to do with the awards, so that they can have room to slide in between the cracks. I don't understand how you replace a power forward and a power forward center with a point guard, with 2 point guards. That don't make sense. So yeah, the NBA got to do a better job of that, man. But yeah, shout out to LaMelo Ball, the golden child out there in Charlotte. doing his thing. 21-7-7, if I'm not mistaken, is his numbers. Definitely electric. Definitely leading Charlotte in terms of getting these guys wins, giving them up for a playoff run. Hopefully they can get out the first round, make an upset. You never know. Miles Bridges playing well in Charlotte alongside LaMelo. You got Rozier in the lineup. You got Kelly Oubre revitalizing his career off the bench in Charlotte. They just added Montrezl Harrell at the deadline. Montrezl Harrell and Terry Rozier played together at Louisville back in 2016. So it's interesting. I'm interested to see how LaMelo elevate his game now. See, players like LaMelo Ball, Darius Garland, Ja Morant, these young guys, I don't care if you're an all-star now. What you're doing right now is not enough. Next year, we need to see more. If you're averaging 20-8 and your team a 5 seed, I need you to give me 23-10 and get your team to a 4 seed, so that you can stamp yourself as an all-star. Don't just keep sliding in between the cracks, because 20-8 can get quote-unquote snubbed if they want to, if they feel like you're plateauing as a player. So, yeah, I need players like DeJounte Murray, LaMelo Ball, Darius Garland. Do more next year. But shout out to these young bucks. Fred VanVleet, from undrafted to all-star, shout out. That's a big leap, man. This some 2K stuff. This is the type of stuff I do on 2K. Go and get an undrafted player, send them to potential camps, and put him in the G League for a season, and grow him into a all-star, and try to see if he can lead my team. I just try to do fun stuff like that on 2K. I've been thinking about a 2K channel. Y'all drop a comment and let me know what y'all think about that. But yeah, man, Fred VanVleet go from undrafted to all-star. Toronto is back competitive. They in the thick of things for the playoffs. These dudes doing the thing, man. It's just good to see, because Freddie deserves it. He's leading a group with Pascal, a group with a rookie and Scotty Barnes, Chris Boucher. They got they stole Gary Trent from Portland last year. They got a good team, and Freddie is the engine on it. It's people going in and out of the rotation. Pascal wasn't healthy till after the first 15 games. Scotty Barnes missed about 10 games in the middle of that, and other players in and out as well. But Freddie been a consistent piece and a consistent rock for that team. So good to see Freddie get a chance, man. This dude definitely gonna have a long career in the league, man. He coming from undrafted. That's a big step for you. When you look at Rudy Goldberg, man, he is the best defending big in the league, but defense is not enough when you're going up against Anthony Towns, Embiid, and Jokic. Those bigs are always going to outweigh him until he can get close to 20 points. Averaging 14 points is always going to go but so far, and that's why Jared Allen was a slam dunk all-star this year, because he just averages 16 points. If he was at 19 points with 12 rebounds and 2.5 blocks, and Cleveland were where they at, it'll be a little bit harder to snub him. So the Utah Jazz, I mentioned a couple videos ago, the Utah Jazz have to prioritize getting on the ball, because Gobert leading the league in 2-point percentage. But he only gets 7.5 shots per game. They gotta feed him. He a finisher. Get him the rock. He finishing. He long. He bigger than most players that's guarding him. So yeah, they gotta prioritize that for Gobert to get more respect, man. Because Gobert is definitely a player who can make an MVP push if his team prioritize him being the best player on the squad. That might make them better. Then when we get to the very last pick of the All-Star draft, they did James Harden so dirty. They did James Harden so dirty, bro. Y'all should go check out NBA on TNT and look at the All-Star draft and how they milked it out, laughed, joked, and they basically said, man, look, man, if you don't, KD said, if you don't want to be on my squad, bro, in real life, bro, you don't want to be on my squad in the All-Star game, bro. You can go ahead over there, do what you do over there. And KD used a phrase he used a phrase to describe that trade that was the epitome of saying Harden wanted to leave. He said it looked like everybody got what they wanted. And he interested to see how his guys could come together and gear up for a championship. But Harden didn't want to be there. And when things got tough, what Harden do? Oh, we're not good enough. It's time for me to go. We're not good enough. Time for me to go. I gotta get out of here and go to a better situation. Harden went to a GM in Daryl Morey who would pay him no matter his production, no matter what he do, wrong or right. Daryl Morey gonna give him the super max extension that he's eligible for, no matter what. And Philly gonna regret it in about 2 seasons. That's just my personal opinion. When you look at Harden numbers this year, yes, he is an all-star. About 22 points, 9, 10 assists, 7, 8 rebounds, about 41% from the field, 33 from three, 85 from the free throw. It's not the best version of Harden we've seen, but it's still better than most players. But when you look at how LeBron, Kevin, Chuck, Shaq, and Kenny was disrespecting Harden, I think that's the epitome of where his career is going. I think leaving Houston might not have been as good of an idea as he thought it was at the time of leaving, because his reputation, his respect, and there's a lot thereof, you know, and I think that goes a lot farther than sometimes the numbers or the championships or anything. The respect. If your peers don't respect you, we seen Giannis 2 years ago on the same NBA draft, All-Star draft, pick Kemba Walker over James Harden, disrespect James Harden on live TV. I want somebody that's gonna pass the ball. That's what he said. And what Chuck called him, he said, "Oh, you don't want the dribbler?" Bro, that is a sign of disrespect. That is a sign of people see that you're great. We see the good that you do on the floor, but we don't respect it in a way that you don't seem as if you're willing to do whatever for the team. It seems like you're playing for the greater interest of what can benefit you, James Harden. So I hope he's seen that All-Star draft. I hope it made him mad. Real talk. I hope it geared him up to come out with Philly and put on the show and be a monster. But yeah, that's my live reactions to the All-Star drafts, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all the picks. I might have rambled a little bit too long, but hey, man, it's the RiSSky Powerhouse. Y'all will see me later. I love y'all, and we out of here.